And welcome to the Deuce Podcast. I'm Brad.
And I'm Jeremy.
Jeremy, we are doing episode 143. We are up there, 143.
Yep.
And it is a cold day. That's all I have to say about that. It's cold.
It is very cold.
But it's, our guest that we have this week knows all about cold. He also knows all about Fletch, which is our movie. It's Fletch Lives is the movie that we're doing. Please welcome to, again, back on the Deuce Podcast for the second time. Tom Skull. Tom, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on. It's only been twice. I feel like I've been on more than that.
No, you've been on my show, my other show, like 400 times.
I swear he's been on our show more than once.
Yeah.
He came on
really?
For Batman.
Well,
Batman, but that's all I can think of.
Batman, yeah. Which is a Christmas movie, but we're not talking about Batman.
Yes, that's correct.
It is a Christmas movie.
Thank you for having me back. I'm really excited to talk to both of you. You guys are good people.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
no matter what those other people say about you, I think.
Jeremy's good people. I don't know about me, but
well, yeah. If it was just Jeremy and I on the line, I'd tell him he's really good people.
Yeah,
Brad's okay.
Yes. So. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
That's what I like to
trademark.
Hear. Yeah. Now, there is a reason why we chose Fletch Lives, and there's a reason why we chose Tom Skull to be on our show. Tom, I told you a long time ago that we're going to have you on here, back on our show for Fletch Lives, because your son's name is Fletch, correct?
That's right.
Now, did you name Fletch after the movies?
I did. His mom and when I breached the subject about naming our child, I said, "What about Fletcher?" Knowing that I wanted to call him Fletch because of the movies, and she's like, "Oh, that's a nice name." And it wasn't until like 3 months later when I said, "I'm naming him after the movie," but she was fine with it because she loved the name, so it was all good.
Yeah. Then you know what though, like that's the funny thing is like. I love stories like that about where like somebody sneaks the name in there or whatever.
Yeah.
My parents wanted to name me Jeremy. Obviously, they they were fine with that. But when they went to go do the birth certificate, the nurse was like, have you guys thought about a middle name? And my dad said, yeah, Alan. We talked about it. And she goes, well, how do you want to spell that? And the dad goes, A L I
what
E N
what?
And the nurse wrote it on the birth certificate. So for like a few seconds, and then she goes, "Wait a minute," and then she like just basically started over and gave me the most generic.
This is the first time hearing about this.
Yeah, for a few minutes, for a few moments, my name was Jeremy Alien.
Alien?
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
And Brad, you never knew this story?
No. I don't think so.
It's all a journey, isn't it? Every day.
It's an alien. He's an alien to me.
It's an alien.
It's all alien.
Wow. My cover story.
Now, there's another reason why we brought you on, because of, not just because of your son being named Fletch, but you also are starting. You were from a podcast that I used to listen to all the time called Tom and Jim's Top 5, but you're no longer doing that. Instead, you're doing a podcast you just started with your son called Lights Camera Fletch. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, Brad, you guys have been listening to Tom and Jim's Top 5 for a while, so you probably know, like, there was a few times where Jim couldn't do the show and we still wanted to do one, so I would have Fletcher on and we would do just a movie review because he just really wanted to be on, and I said, oh, that'll be fun. And then people really seemed to like it that he was on.
Yeah.
And so when Jim and I ended the show, coming up almost a year now, we ended the show, which you could still, they're still out there if you want to listen to them, but we were ending it for different reasons. I had stuff going on, he had stuff going on in our lives. Our lives were just changing. But I always kept saying, like, well, because Fletcher wanted to do a show still. And I said, well, we should do that, because I can just imagine, like, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, going back and be able to hear him as an 8-year-old talking on this. It's just such a cool way to keep a memory, And so, so we started it back up, and So the two newest movies we've done under the Lights, Camera, Fletch banner we did the Disney movie Soul, the new on Disney Plus, and we just released today our second episode, which was on the new Netflix movie Finding Ohana.
Oh wow!
And it's really good. So it's they're both. I would recommend both those movies to all ages, actually. So it's not going to just be about kids movies. We're trying to do everything. I'm a movie nerd, so he's really into 80s and 90s movies too, because that's what Dad watches. So so we'll do a bunch of things. I think we've gotten some suggestions, and I think the next movie maybe on the docket is Good Burger.
Oh, nice. And, would you like a shake?
Which I've only seen one time, and he's never seen, so that could be a really fun.
That's a fun one.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's Lights Camera Fletch, and we are Lights Camera Fletch at Gmail. You can email you emailed Fletcher directly, and then we're on Facebook and Instagram. But I run those. I don't let my son near Facebook and Instagram. But
I remember one of the first ones.
We shouldn't be on Facebook and Instagram as adults. Right. There's no reason an 8-year-old should be on there. So yeah.
I remember one of the first ones was like Ghostbusters, if I remember.
Yeah, we did go, and that's one of his favorite movies of all time. Yeah. And he wants to do Goonies. Goonies is another one. And we did Finding Ohana, and there's a lot of Goonies similarities in Finding Ohana. And I don't want to give it away. Yeah. It's a great movie. It just came out. And so I think Goonies is coming down the pike too soon. But it's on Podbean and wherever you can find your podcast.
Yeah, what a great way to just to have that as a time capsule too, like you said. And
it's good. Yeah.
And get to embarrass your son later on in life.
Oh yeah, like when he gets married or something, that stuff's coming out for sure. So yeah.
Well, this next episode sounds like fun with Good Burger too.
Yeah,
kids love Abe Vigoda. Yeah. So
yeah, Abe Vigoda is huge with kids.
Yeah, it's funny. Does anyone know when Abe Vigoda? One, is he still alive?
No,
he passed a few years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, a few years ago, you could have told me he passed 28 years ago, and I'd be like, yeah, that's true.
He's one of those people
he
that
never
just
looked alive.
Yeah, he looks like he's that age all the time, right?
Like I thought he would have died right after filming the original Godfather.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died in 2016 at age 94.
Yeah, but let's be honest.
He was only 94?
Yeah. On Barney Miller, he looked like he was 94.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
Yeah.
I thought easily the century mark with Abe. But, well, anyway, my mom always said never talk ill of the dead, and so I guess I won't talk about Abe in a bad way.
No, I loved Abe Vigoda. I like when he was on Conan O'Brien. Like it was always funny.
I don't think he knew he was there.
No, he never did. Conan O'Brien would just tape him, and he would just say stuff.
He'd be on those Comedy Central roasts, and they would just ask if he was still breathing. Yeah.
I just realized the other day that Abe Vigoda was on Batman: Mask of the Phantasm.
Oh, really?
Really?
If you ever watch it. Yeah, he was one of the mobsters, Salvatore Valestra.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I was just watching it. Was like, oh my god, he was totally on that.
Really, I'm just trying to find a segue into our movie.
Well, yeah.
But we are doing Fletch Lives, and the Fletch movies are some of your favorite movies, right, Tom?
Absolutely. Fletch, I would say, is. I think we did this a top 5. I think it's in my top 5.
I really think it is too.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie. Yeah. I remember my brother showing me it when I was probably way too young.
Way too young.
That's how I saw every movie, and it's just Chevy Chase is an interesting person. I think in real life.
Yeah.
Just people can Google their own stuff, but he's got out of all his movies, he's got 5 solid movies, and Fletch and Fletch Lives and the vacation movies, and that's about it, I think. But
that's what Jeremy and I were talking about. We really like Chevy Chase in these movies. These movies fit Chevy Chase perfectly, along with the vacation movies. But Fletch and Fletch Lives from 1989, the follow-up Fletch Lives. And it was directed by Michael Ritchie. Michael Ritchie was the director of The Bad News Bears and The Bad News Bears Goes to Japan and Cool Runnings as well. So,
I love Cool Runnings.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Great movie. If you don't cry when they're at the end of that movie, when they're walking the bobsled down the chute, you have no soul.
100% correct.
It's one of my favorite slow claps too.
It is. It's a good slow clap.
It's a very good slow clap.
I'm surprised you guys never did top 5 slow claps.
I think we did top 5 slow claps on your show.
No.
You have us on and make fun of us.
You know why I know that? Because no one clapped for my show. That's how I know that.
I clapped. I clapped when it was over.
If you made it that far, that's great. Yeah. Anyway, Jeremy, do we have a plot synopsis for Fletch Lives?
We do. I'm not sure.
Did you lose that?
Yeah, I lost my spot.
Well, Tom burned me pretty good.
You sound like me. I'm like, where are my notes again?
Yeah, where are my notes?
Where are my notes? Yeah. Okay, here we go. I think this was the one I had. When Irvin Fletcher, which I always forget his first name's Irvin.
Irvin, yeah.
Inherits.
It's Irwin. It's Irwin with a W.
Yeah.
Inherits Belle Isle, a Louisiana estate. He quits his job at the paper and takes off to live like a king, or so he thinks. But shortly after arrival, he has to find out that the place he expected really looks more like a rundown, shabby mansion. In addition, the young and attractive lawyer he takes to bed that night does not wake up the next morning.
Yeah.
After being released from jail, Fletch starts investigating the murder. An enormous sum of money offered for his rather worthless piece of land. Investigating... Sorry, this is half written in sentences. Investigates TV priest Jimmy Lee Farnsworth and his Bible land, and investigates tons of toxic waste on his grounds. Additionally, someone is after Fletch with a serious gun pointed at him. Thank you.
Yes.
But they all underestimate Fletch, whose journalistic instinct always leads him into the right direction. Hopefully. It was terrible.
That was terrible. I loved everything.
So you get your information from Wikipedia also? That's good.
No, it's even worse. It's IMDb. I don't remember. I think I started reading the wrong one because usually I look through them ahead of time.
You look through them ahead of time, yeah.
And judge them on are they written in complete sentences and rewrite them if I have to, to put it together in a coherent way.
And today was a busy day. It's fine.
Yeah, and I think I just read the one I didn't intend to read.
Yes.
But
obviously, like we said before, Chevy Chase reprises his role as Fletcher. Hal Holbrook is in this movie. Hal Holbrook is just recently passed away, which is one of the reasons why we did this movie. We wanted to find a movie with Hal Holbrook. That was a sequel. He plays Hamilton Ham Johnson, who is the lawyer in the movie. This is a crazy cast, by the way. Just a crazy cast. Becky Culpepper is played by Juliana Phillips, who was actually Bruce Springsteen's first wife?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was in the Glory Days video, I think. That was pretty much the
She was in the what was it, sitcom in the early 90s, Sisters. Yeah.
Yes.
I watched it.
Was that your favorite show with Sisters?
All 9 episodes. Yeah. It was great. No, I remember my mom watching that actually though.
I remember my mom watching it too.
I think it was on around the same time as Evening Shade.
It was like a Saturday Golden Girls Evening Shade.
Saturday night in the Skull household, just evening, Burt Reynolds just being his Birdiest Reynoldsy, and then Betsy Ann Culpepper, whatever her name was, just being Bruce Springsteen's wife.
Betsy Ann Culpepper is actually Becky Culpepper is the character name, but no, it's fine.
Yeah, whatever. I mean,
we know what's going on.
The sheriff is played by Don Brockett, but you might know him as Chef Brockett from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, did you know that?
No, that was a pull. That was a deep pull.
Yeah, that's a deep cut.
Bradley, he's a big Mr. Rogers.
We were watching it, and I was like, "That's totally I know that guy." And I was like, "That's Chef Brockett from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood." Yeah, it was crazy.
The only chef I recognize when I see for old TV shows is the weird one from You Can't Do That on Television.
That guy? See, I thought it was him. I thought it was Barth.
Barth?
From You Can't Do That on Television. Yeah. But I was like, no, that's got to be someone else because he's Canadian.
Yeah.
What's his face?
So fancy.
The guy from Blazing Saddles is in this movie.
Cleavon Little.
Cleavon Little.
Yeah.
Plays calculus.
I mean, and maybe this is me because I love Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
And I love this movie. I can tell you another movie he's in.
Right. Oh my God, me too.
And
I forgot he was in this movie.
Both these movies.
And yes, he's great in this movie. Yes.
I mean, not even Once Bitten.
Yes.
You
he was in Once Bitten,
and that should only be the one time anyone ever mentions that movie.
Yes, pretty much. No one needs to. No. The Ku Klux Klan leader is played by Jeffrey Lewis, who is actually Juliette Lewis's father.
Oh, there you go. Who later in 1989 was in Christmas Vacation with Chevy Chase. I'm not even looking up notes here. I just know this stuff.
You should know this stuff, people.
I still argue with a lot of people that 1989 is one of the best years of movies ever. So
actually, you're probably pretty right on that one.
You put that in your Google machine and noodle on that for a while.
Wasn't it? There was something we had read about, like where it was like these 10-year gaps where it was like these big well-known movies and then these big well-known movies 10 years later.
89, 99.
Yeah, it was something 39. Like that. And like music hits with it, stuff like that. So
yeah. You get a couple of cameos. One of the cameos is Richard Belzer at the beginning, at the opening credits.
Right.
And then Phil Hartman later on joins us for a lovely... he's like the bio manager, right? Like the...
Yeah. At the... Yes, at the facility. And then Arlie Ermy.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. The preacher.
The televangelist.
Yes. Yeah. He's amazing in this.
And I have to say, this is probably... Like, Arlie Ermy pretty much always plays Arlie Ermy.
Right, but not... Right. For this movie, I love him in it.
I think this was his most, like, subdued thing I've seen him in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
this is him branching out as an actor. This is it.
Yeah.
We saw it, and he did a great job.
Agreed. I really enjoyed him as this role, and I was like, oh, like it would have been fun to see him do some other different things.
You guys grew up in Nebraska, both of you, or no?
Yeah, I did.
Mostly.
Okay. I mean, so like Minnesota didn't really have these, but I remember seeing on TV like these televangelists and like Oral Roberts and I don't know what the other one was. Anyway, they're all nuts, but he nailed it with these guys. Like they all, like there was no, he was not joking. This is how they acted. This is how these people talked. You know, demons out. I remember seeing that crap on TV.
Mm-hmm. My buddy Ben and I, when we used to come home from school, because it was the channel you had to switch to. Yeah. We had to switch to channel 3 to play Nintendo.
Yeah.
And that was TBN. And so we would always see the religious people right before we switched on the video games. And so, like, sometimes if we caught it just right, we'd be like, stop everything. And we'd start playing Televangelist. Like, we used to love it. He'd be like, put your hands on the TV screen. Let me heal you. And we'd be like, oh, all right. Just put our hands on the screen. And then when he would do his thing, we'd throw ourselves into the couches.
Oh, that's funny.
The only time I would do that, put my hand on the TV screen, is when there was a David Copperfield special on, and he asked me to do it. That's the only time I believe it.
Oh, my God.
So.
I totally forgot about that. Sponsored by Clorox. Clorox.
Yeah.
Clorox bleach. All right. It was always sponsored by Clorox bleach. I don't know why the David Copperfield
because it made stains
you had
disappear.
To cleanse yourself after.
I don't know, but I like his role as the coach in Saving Silverman. I mean, what about that?
Yeah. I mean, it's good, but again, it's like...
He's Arlie Emery as the coach.
I know, but I love him in this.
Like, what was that show he hosted on, like, History Channel? It was, like, Guns and Ammo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. And it's, like, it was basically made just for him. Like, for him. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So. Did he recently pass away, too?
Yeah, he passed.
I don't know. Yeah, I think they're all dead.
All of them are dead.
Everyone in this cast
Who didn't die last year? I mean, let's just
Yeah, he died in 2018.
Chevy Chase didn't. Yeah.
Chevy Chase is still alive. Yes.
Yeah. What did you like? Because obviously Chevy Chase has a bunch of disguises that he goes through. Who are your favorite disguises, Tom, in this movie?
In Fletch Lives?
Yes.
Well, he has different disguises and different names.
Yes.
My favorite name is Peter Lemonjello.
Mine too.
That's amazing. But my favorite character he does is Claude Henry Smoot, which when he's a guest healer on the show.
Yes.
Because when he's trying to get the guy to spell it, it's I don't know. Like, it just makes he's like Claude. It's Smoott. I'm sorry, just one T. Yeah, like it's just ridiculous. Yeah, but they're all good.
Yeah, and these movies are just plain fun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
I think the reason I love this, and I love the faith healer character too, because he's doing a voice and he's doing.
Yeah.
I think part of the thing that sometimes I do and don't love about things is like how much somebody throws himself into a character. And I think about like animated stuff. Like we were just talking the other day about the movie Fantastic Mr. Fox. The Wes Anderson movie, and George Clooney does a voice for it. But literally, he's just doing
George Clooney.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like, well, like it's nothing. He's just being himself.
Yeah.
I think the weirdest you see him is The Men Who Stare at Goats. And that
movie's weird.
It is weird. I enjoy it though. but it's like that's the weirdest he gets, but he's still basically George Clooney, just wound up George Clooney. But the Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
But this one I feel like Chevy Chase really is going into it.
Yes,
and going.
But Chevy Chase is like normally when Chevy Chase is in a movie, I feel like he's just being Chevy Chase.
Yes,
and when he goes beyond just being himself, like when he's in the vacation movies and he's kind of a little nerdy and he's whatever, or like when
but he's still Chevy Chase in those movies though. Like he's just a nice version of Chevy Chase.
Yes. But considering in everything else, he kind of has that smarminess to him.
Yeah.
Like I like those, and here too, he's still got that kind of like he's got that charm and kind of snark to him, but he also. When he starts doing characterizations and stuff, I'm just like, man, I wish I had more of that.
Right.
I like when he does his characters, especially like the faith healer. He's got a whole other voice. He's doing, like,
not even.
Do you believe? Yeah.
It's not even just the voice to me. It's his mannerisms that actually, like I'm like, wow, he was really getting into it by like showing you in his mannerisms that he's pretending to be these people.
Yeah.
Right? You know what I mean?
Ed Harley.
Yeah. Yes.
Harley Davidson's grand.
Yeah. Like, for some reason, I can picture him as these people. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that guy's dorky and kind of slinks a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, he has got the mannerisms down. And it's not necessarily... Because you get, like, someone like Robin Williams who just kind of, like, just goes all out and is like, I got to do that, you know? But this is different to me.
Yeah.
And this almost works more for me.
Yes.
Better than like how Robin Williams sometimes is too sporadic or too, chaotic in a way.
Yeah.
It's more...
Brad, cocaine's a hell of a drug.
True.
Oh, yeah. Chevy Chase was not
Chevy
on
Chase
cocaine.
never did cocaine.
Chevy Chase was on a lot of cocaine, and he's very calm. So it affects people differently.
True, but there's just the way that like he also carries himself in this movie through the physicality of it that I'm actually like, oh, that's different, and actually that it works for you. Also, like just kind of like the side gags, like when he pinches like the one guy in the butt, and then goes, no, it was that guy over there. Yeah, I don't know why that cracks me up every time.
It's funny. You can't do that now. You get Me Too'd.
Right. And there's a lot in this movie that doesn't quite hold up because of the
80s comedies could not be made today.
No.
Ever. Like, there's no way they can make it the same way.
The racial aspects of this movie, or the harassments of the movie, or even the slight, kind of gay jokes of the movie aren't necessarily dated very well.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Although, I will say, I've seen it done much worse.
Worse. Yes.
Doesn't mean it's great, but it is done much worse. But the also, I think the thing that, it just strikes me, it feels like it wasn't as ramped up in the 70s as much. And then in the 80s, the humor got real. Like, they were like, yeah, Soul Man, that's a good idea. And put
I think I'm going to refer to my previous comment as the cocaine in the 80s was amazing.
Amazing cocaine.
Yeah.
Well, we are missing out.
Yeah, it struck me a little bit like when you would see something, or like when they're having like their Southern Cotillion and a lot of people are dressed up as the Confederate soldiers.
Let's just call it what it is. They're slave owners. I mean, that's just...
Right.
Yeah.
But he's never like...
Or patriots.
Right, but he's never... He's never accepting the racism, right? Like, he's always putting them as the joke.
Oh,
but, you know what I mean? Which I appreciate that. But it's also like... how the joke goes doesn't necessarily hold up sometimes.
Right.
But that's not to say it's not funny. It's just kind of
it's a little jarring.
Yeah, it's a little jarring to go, oh God,
but I think it's done in a way that I'm like, okay, like I get it. This is you see things where the race is the butt of the joke, and in this case, it's not.
Like, you get movies like Blazing Saddles that could be made. There's no way that movie could be made now, right? Oh. You're just like, no. Can
I actually?
Well, that's funny because Cleavon Williams basically, he's the black sheriff in that movie, and that's the weird. That's what's weird, and it's all about people being racist about that. It's like, this is the two movies this guy was in, really?
Once Bitten, and he was also Once Bitten.
Yeah.
No,
I actually just looked up Cleavon Little. He died in '92.
Yeah, so he died a long time ago. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Wasn't in a lot of movies, so.
No, but he was talented as anything, man.
Yeah. So.
But along those lines, Cleavon Little, I have to say, like, I loved what he was, like, his character in this movie.
I do too, actually.
And I like that Fletch was like, there's something more about this guy. Like, he realized that, there's something he wasn't telling him.
Yeah, spoilers. Yeah. He's the FBI agent.
Yeah, he's with the FBI. Yeah. But part of me also was like, you see him show up places and see him doing these things and kind of like realize that, he's got some, he's basically playing up a character.
Yeah.
But I really almost wanted more of him in this movie.
I did too, actually.
Not to say like everything Chevy Chase is doing and him in this movie is done right. I don't need a break from Chevy Chase by any means.
No, but I needed him more. But I also wanted
a little bit more. Yeah, Cleavon Little, because they interact very well too.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. We were talking about just the influences that these movies do have. And that you see it nowadays. For instance, like when we're watching this, the only thing that like I kept thinking about was how Psych was influenced by the movies Fletch and Fletch Lives.
Yeah,
how you get like just how he would make names up, and he would pretend like I can read minds and stuff like that. Yeah. How that and the Sacha Baron Cohen characters that he has, including Borat and Bruno and all those guys, and Ali G, and in Mike Myers movies where he play any person that plays like multiple characters.
Oh,
go ahead. What
I think we're missing.
I mean, it's almost a type of improv.
Yes,
like where you just come up with things. Like, well, there's one of my favorite fun facts about this movie is because in the first movie he's Irwin M. Fletcher, that's his name, but we never know what M stands for, and in this movie. He says Irwin Mahatma Fletcher. He probably just made that up. The character did, but the real story is Chevy Chase went up to like a production assistant and said, "Give me a funny name with the letter M." And the guy just goes, Mahatma. And so then they filmed that scene, and that's how that got in the movie. So it's just a lot of improv, Like,
nice.
I also feel like Chevy Chase loves language. Like he understands what, like when something sounds funny. Do you know what I mean? Like that instance right there, to me is a sign that someone knows what they're talking about.
I think that makes the best comedic actors or even comedians themselves is like the English language can be done so well if you have a really good understanding of how to use the words. Like
yes,
certain words just are like. There's a lot of comedians that are funny, but there's some that just nail it, and Chevy Chase is one of them in these movies. So,
what were you going to say, Jeremy?
Oh, speaking of like the other influences this movie has had.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I think you were talking about Psych. I think possibly the greatest example, one that maybe even surpassed the original.
You're smiling. What are you going to say?
The Master of Disguise.
Oh, I knew you were going to say this.
Are you Casper on this show?
I'm kidding.
He's kidding.
Oh, okay.
But
all
no,
right, I almost dropped my one Effenheimer.
You could drop it as many times with that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well,
that's a freebie.
I won't say it now, but I almost dropped it. The Master is. I'll say this. Dana Carvey's funny.
Yeah.
But that movie is horseshit.
Yes. I agree.
It's horseshit.
I felt like I was watching this and I was like, just reminded like Chevy Chase doing the characters, going through like disguising, changing names, just making different characters. And I was like, wow, this is done really well. And when we were talking about influences it had, and all I could think of, or one of the things I thought of was, it's like Dana Carvey was trying to do the same kind of thing, but did it just so badly.
Well, I think the reason why this works is
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Is that the scenes don't go on forever. I think sometimes comedies, the scenes just take forever. Like the actors just improv and they want to get like everything in there. And I think these are just the right length of scenes. Like the how we were talking about with the faith healer scenes and stuff like that. Like I really think that those are done deliberately, not long, and are short in the way that they. Yeah, there's just something about them that work. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jeremy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah, I just think this movie works overall for a lot of, partially too because of I don't know.
I like that they brought back the. Sorry to jump in. I like that they brought back the lawyer from the first movie.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
Who in the first movie you get the sense that this is the guy that's totally banging his ex-wife, but they don't really mention it. And then in this movie, they just basically say that, he's the one that's he just wants alimony money from Fletch for the ex-wife, but he obviously has a relationship with this woman. And I don't know, that funny stuff that happens in his apartment, I like that a lot. He's just Chevy is or Fletch, I should say, is so mean to him, but in such a smart, funny way that he does. It takes a minute to realize how mean he is to him.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
the guy from Spaceballs.
Yes.
Yeah, George Wiener. I don't know how to say his last name actually.
George Wiener. It's probably Weiner.
Yeah.
Let's go with Wiener though. That's funnier.
Especially with Spaceballs Wiener.
Yeah.
Yeah. The bits with him just overall are funny, and I love the kind of comeuppance at the end that he gets too.
Yeah, that's so good.
I just love, and Chevy Chase's reaction to it, where he acts all aghast, and as soon as he puts the paper down, he's just like laughing and laughing silently and signing. I love.
You're taking my family's land. He puts the paper down. And he's all excited. Yeah, that's great.
I forgot how much the Lakers are involved in this movie.
He loves the Lakers.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I just love that.
And that's a carryover from the first movie.
Yeah.
Can I just say overall though, like I want to point this out because we're big noir fans. Bradley and I are.
Yeah.
And outside of the comedy piece of it, like, this is a very solid storyline, regardless. Even if the comedy piece isn't involved, it's a solid story.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, sometimes you get things where you realize if it's not... Like, honestly, when I go back and I look at, like, Ace Ventura...
Yeah.
If they didn't have the comedy stuff in there supporting it, the story really is not, like, from a detective story standpoint, is really not that solid.
Right.
It's kind of flimsy.
With his voiceovers and his,
yeah, like the comedy carries it. And outside of that, it just doesn't...
This story could easily be a drama. And like a really good mystery trying to figure this out. Yeah, it's even in the first movie, it's the same way. It's a really interesting. He's an investigative reporter for the LA Times or whatever paper they use is where he works for, and that could easily be a drama. You could take all the comedy out of it, and it's still a good mystery movie. So.
Well, and it's based on, the first one especially is based on the actual books.
Yeah, this one was not, though. There was I never read any of the books. Did you guys read the books?
I haven't, but I was actually looking them up last night because I was like, maybe this is something I should put on my reading list.
Yeah, because there's like 8 or 9 of them, I think. I don't know. But this one was not. This was a totally original story. They didn't base this on anybody. And they might have taken elements from the books. I don't know. But
yeah.
But they nailed it. This is still because that's a little scary. Yeah. Like, let's make our own. Not use the source material, and sometimes that really backfires for TV shows and movies. This worked out pretty well. So.
There's actually a scene in this movie where I went, "Whoa, that's actually Chevy Chase." Like that's actually a different scene that I've ever seen Chevy Chase. And that's when after he gets shot at and he comes back to the hut that him and Calculus are living at, and he's like, I've been shot. You know what I mean? And he says something, and then he responds, but he's serious. It's like the only time he doesn't tell a joke when he's commenting on it. And I went, oh shit. Yeah, actually, like, Chevy Chase got real. Right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, he's not joking. So it's like the only time when he's not joking is when his life is totally in danger, and when he almost gets killed. And I'm like, that was actually a nice touch that like actually never really kind of seen or noticed with Chevy Chase before. And I kind of appreciated that.
Yeah, I agree. Mm. Well, and I feel like a lot of his narration,
because you get that a little in Community.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Especially in the beginning of Community.
His narration is almost like his inner monologue is serious. Mm-hmm. Whereas his, like, he'll be thinking something serious, but has that, like, outer shell of, like, snark and wit. Mm-hmm. So it's sometimes interesting to see, like, oh, okay, like, he's
well, like, even, like, when I forget what part of the movie it is, when he's coming home, he's like, I got home just in time to see the fire in the fireplace and on the walls and on the curtains, the roof. It was great. Like, he just says it so, like, quickly, like, seriously, but it's like, instead of just saying the house is on fire, he just kind of, like, I don't know, it's just hilarious. But,
and then when they're, like, slowly moving his trunk with his
stuff, the house, the hallway, like 30 feet from them is all in a blaze, and they're just walking the trunk out as slow as can be. Yeah.
And he's like, looks like you have to sleep with you tonight. Like,
I laugh so hard. It's so, like, it's so surreal. They're just like, it's just so out of place. They're just like slowly walking and talking nonchalantly while this blaze is happening. God, it's so well done. Well, why don't we do this? Just because with all three of us, I want to make sure we get a chance to talk through everything. Why don't we start doing our 5 questions here?
Okay.
Why don't we, since you are the Fletch fan extraordinaire, why don't we start with you? What do you think is the best part of this movie?
Whew, that's a tough question. I would say I think the best is the parts of him. There's 2 different scenes with him with Arlie Emery's preacher character. And one, he's Erwin Fletcher, and then the other one he comes back as Claude Smoot, the guest healer, and those are just, I don't know, they're just hilarious to me. Those are my favorite parts of the movie, I think. So.
Oh yeah, those are both great scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like when Arlie Emery does the whole, puts his hand on his forehead and knocks him over, demons out, and he just, it's just hilarious. But.
And then he plays up as he's getting dragged away.
Yeah, he gets dragged out. And Chevy Chase is like 6'6", like he's a really tall dude, and like just get him dragged out, his like legs are just, it's just hilarious. Anyway,
well, and his face during that too, because he's playing along.
Yeah,
just being his normal,
he's like, oh, you healed me. Yeah, it's just so good.
Well, how about you, Bradley?
I mean, I agree with you. I think anything with the Farnsworth character is great. But I actually appreciate Hal Holbrook in this movie. He kind of has that underrated, like, because Hal Holbrook is always kind of like the upstanding kind of like person that he always plays.
Yeah.
Except when he plays.
Doesn't he always play Mark Twain?
He always plays like Mark Twain or something.
Yeah.
Yes, that's all he did was Fletch Lives in Mark Twain.
He was like, anyway.
He was also an Evening Shade.
That guy.
He was an Evening Shade, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, but for some reason, like, I like him as that smarmy kind of like lawyer, and I kind of like him as the villain of this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that's my favorite part, but I think it's one of the better parts that we just didn't talk about. But actually, I mean, one of my favorite parts was what I talked about when I got to see Chevy Chase kind of just be real all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite parts. But I think the physicality of Chevy Chase and knowing that, like, I really didn't appreciate his physicality humor, like his physical humor, as much as his quick delivery. But I really appreciated it. I think he's
got like a Michael Richards physical stuff
and I think that's the best part of this movie. There's a lot of like
Michael
psych
Richards
gags.
probably would have gotten that from people like Chevy Chase because he came later. So he falls with his whole body. It's just insane. So
and then he picks himself up and like just keeps going. Like there's nothing, you know what I mean? So that's my favorite part.
I would say mine, and again, it doesn't need to be said over and over, but like, I think mine is still with Chevy Chase. I actually did think about Hal Holbrook, and Cleavon Little. I really like his character, although I would have liked more of him.
I just don't think they use him as much as they should.
But I thought about Hal Holbrook because what you were talking about, where it's like a different kind of a character for him, and there's the scene where they take him upstairs and you see his mom's ashes. Mm-hmm. It's got her picture, and he talked about that before.
Yeah.
But then you realize that he's not just some money-grubbing jerk. He's like psycho. And he says he's talking to the picture of his mother, and he's putting it back together because Chevy Chase has stepped on it. Fletch has stepped on the picture. He's putting the pieces of glass back together, and he's like, soon we'll have all this land, and we'll fill it with toxic waste, and we'll just watch all of them rot, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, you're not doing this for the money. You're just destroying all the land just because you want to, like, have revenge for your mother. I was like, holy crap. Like, it's creepier than, like, your normal motivation for stuff. I'm like, holy.
It gets dark.
Yeah, it's kind of out of left field for me, and I love it. And Hal Holbrook delivers it so well. But it just doesn't beat out Chevy Chase for me.
No, it doesn't.
Like, Chevy Chase doing characters, and like he has such a wide range of what he's doing in this movie. And I think back to stuff like, to me, he's kind of a one-note character in Caddyshack. And people love him in that.
He is what he is in Caddyshack.
But
he delivers it fine.
You get his...
But Bill Murray kind of steals that movie.
Yeah. In this one,
Speaking of cocaine, there's a lot of cocaine.
So much cocaine.
I've read that book, and it's amazing, by the way. So,
yes.
anyway.
And then the movie that it's based on Netflix, right?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of drugs happening there.
Yeah.
What, on Caddyshack?
No, on the whole... the Chevy Chase and the guy that wrote Caddyshack.
Yes, yeah.
The Netflix the movie that came with
yes,
that.
Yes. But no, like like him going from like in a moment being serious to being a dry wit to being like over the top funny with something, like he just is all over, and it just sometimes that doesn't work, but in this case it just meshes so well that I think that's my favorite bit. Chevy Chase really knocks it out of the park with
there you
these
go.
movies.
There you go. Number 2?
Yeah. Bradley, do you think this movie stands on its own?
I mean, that's a good question because it's a mystery that kind of is encapsulated by itself. The only thing that really doesn't is the beginning section, but really, I don't think you need that for this movie. So it's kind of like one of those when we talked about like last week, where it does, but it doesn't. But it mostly does. Do you know what I mean? The only person probably that you kind of get from the first movie that you would probably scratch your head about is the lawyer, but even that they kind of
but even then, like,
even then they do.
Even then, the way they do the expository dialogue is kind of It makes it very easy to figure out,
right? And once you're swept away into into Louisiana, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You're already swept in the mystery.
Yeah,
that mystery itself inside Louisiana doesn't matter about the first movie.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe the fact. I mean, yeah. I mean, anything from the first movie. Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, that's my answer.
Okay.
It's a long way to get there, but yes, that's my answer.
You know what that reminded me of? Like, you know, like when there's a comedy will have like someone speaking another language, and it'll be like a long soliloquy, and then at the end it'll just say one word. It's like yes.
Thank you. I'm famous for that. I do that a lot on this show.
Cool. It was a great. I liked it though. I like what you had to say.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
How about you, Tom? Do you think this movie stands?
You didn't understand it, but you liked what I said.
I'm gonna just say yes. So we don't take up more time.
Oh, you little shit.
Yeah. I think you're right. You take out a couple things in the beginning, and this could easily have been the first Fletch movie. Like there's nothing where you're so confused. Like what? Wait, what? You just take out the parts of the lawyer and a couple lines, and it's definitely a standalone movie. So
yeah. So every time that I think of...
I like the way you said that.
Yes.
Short and sweet.
Very succinct. Yeah. Every time I think about whether something stands on its own, and more for the benefit of Tom here on this, but like when I think of whether something stands on its own, I'll
just take my headphones off.
Well, I always compare it to Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah, agreed.
Because that was the first movie. Like I didn't see the first one. I saw Bogus Journey in the theaters, and then was like, "What the hell is this?" And then one of my friends had to show it to me, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, I totally get stuff now. And I think about like how that made me feel. Does this comparatively make me understand more? I guess this one. I'm with you on this, Bradley. Like, I think that this movie really does stand on its own. It enhances it if you've seen the first one.
Yeah.
But if I just pick this movie up and just watch this one, I'm gonna get what's going on. Like, there's nothing that will have me that stumped,
right?
Or like where I won't be able to pick up the thread of it. I get what's happening. Like, the story is very solid in the way it's put together, and the expository stuff is very natural in it. Like, that's just how
Yeah, and I'm sorry. Can I jump in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was talking to someone recently about I don't know. It was one like the newest Spider-Man movie, Marvel movie, and because their kid loved it, and she's like, "Well, I just don't, it's good." But I guess I was confused. I'm like, that's the thing. Like, because I'm like, well, didn't you see the other 22 Marvel movies that led up to this? And she looked at me like I was an idiot. Because that's a stupid thing to say. It's like, wait a minute, I have to watch 22 2.5 to 3 hour movies to understand half of this movie?
Correct.
Yep. Yes, that's what you have to do. Because that's what you have to do nowadays. That's not... I miss movies like this where you just throw them on. It's an hour and a half of just pure joy. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This movie's called Fletch Lives. If I didn't know, like, it's not called Fletch 2. It's called Fletch Lives. So I'm just saying, like, if I didn't know this was a sequel, I wouldn't know it's a sequel.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I guess, that was just a long way of saying it before.
I got you.
So yeah, you guys said it better than me.
No, you said it fine. You were there.
We can cut all this out, right?
Nah.
I'm just gonna edit it. So
it's funny that you said that. Like, you need to watch 20 movies, because it's like when someone's like, "You haven't seen Game of Thrones? You need to watch. You need to watch 30 hours of television. Go right now." And I'm like, "Have you seen Time? Do you read Time magazine? You need to read all of Time magazine. You know what I mean? You need to read all of this to get this. It's so
Time
dumb."
Magazine's in the cereal either, though.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you don't need to watch like a whole bunch of
you
stuff.
Haven't read all the Sherlock Holmes
You know what I
books.
mean? To enjoy something, you can watch like one thing and go, "Okay, I enjoyed it," or "I didn't enjoy it." You know.
Okay. Even with a pandemic, I don't think I have that much time.
Right? You know? I'm like, whatever.
Right.
All right. So
you need to read all Highlights magazines to know the difference between the back and the front.
I'll never understand what's going on with Goofus and Gallant now. Does this make you want to watch the first one?
Absolutely, it makes me want to watch the first one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to watch the first one tonight as soon as I get out. Yeah.
Do you just have them on repeat nonstop?
They're on right now. He's watching it right now.
I'm watching Fletch Lives right now. He's fighting with the guy in the woods who stole his watch. Yeah.
He dropped his watch.
That bit with the watch too. I'm like, God, this is such a great detective story.
It's a great detective story.
But it's also like, that's a great way of going, okay, that's Billy Bob or Bendover guy.
Yeah.
That was trying to kill him. You're like, oh, boom. You hit it right away, and then you move on to the next part of the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're filling in the gaps with him, and it's great. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Bendover, not Billy Bob, but whatever.
Reboot, continue, or cancel?
Oh, well, they are going to...
This is a great question because of all the news around that.
So they are trying to... I thought they were going to reboot this. Before we went on the air, I told Jeremy that Ryan Reynolds could maybe do it. Maybe do a reboot of it. I like that. But you, Jeremy, said someone else. But before we get to you...
Yeah.
I want to hear what Tom has to say.
Yeah.
Well, I think the idea of making more Fletch movies or doing soft reboots or hard reboots has been around since the early 90s. Mm-hmm. And like Kevin Smith had the rights for it for a while. I don't know if he still does.
I think so.
Other people have had it, and you would hear Ryan Reynolds' name, John Hamm. I think John Krasinski would be good. Just tons of different people. But what's the actual question? I'm sorry. Should they reboot it?
Continue or cancel?
Not even thinking about the reboot that's out there. Would you want to reboot the series, continue the series, or just cancel altogether?
Like Chevy Chase is an old Fletch?
If I have to pick one, I'd say reboot it because Chevy Chase is quite old now. But I would watch a third Fletch with Chevy Chase. But I say reboot it and put in someone like like I said, like Jason Lee, I think at one point was another one that was mentioned as the new Fletch. I think that's when Kevin Smith was involved, of course. But,
makes sense.
But I think someone like a Ryan Reynolds would be great.
Would you do a soft reboot to still have it in the same Fletch universe?
I think I like when movies are like that, when they are kind of connected. But yet they're starting off with a new character. Mm-hmm. Like you could have Chevy Chase in it as a cameo or something. So I would say soft reboot, but anything Fletch I'm going to watch. So
there is also the aspect of Joel McHale as well, just because of Community.
Oh, he would be great too.
Yeah. And he played Chevy Chase in that movie.
Yeah, in the movie we talked about before. Yep. But what were you going to say? Because you were going to keep this for the show.
I thought about this.
Okay.
When we were watching the movie, I thought I would reboot it.
Mm-hmm.
But but I would reboot it, and I would make the main character, whether it's a soft reboot or not, whatever, make the main character female, called Fletch, who is a journalist and author. But the plot twist would be the character's name is Jessica Fletcher.
Oh, shut up!
And it would also be simultaneously a reboot with Murder, She Wrote.
Shut up!
Murder, She Wrote and Fletch combined into one. With Jessica Fletcher, who
she's
they
a
just call
curmudgeon
Fletch.
that gets into trouble.
I'm on board.
I'm on board.
Oh, not even curmudgeon. She'd just be kind of an introvert young person.
Yeah, who? Played by who? Aubrey Plaza?
Ooh, Aubrey Plaza would be fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
Melissa McCarthy, maybe?
Yeah, I thought Miss McCarthy,
but she's in everything, but she's funny. But
the gal who plays Dina in Superstore.
Oh, God.
Oh, she's good.
Yeah,
I don't know the actress's name, but...
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I mean, Angela Lansbury's still alive. We could throw her in this movie if it's a cameo, too.
Fletch and Angela Lansbury could show up. It could be the summer. That's how it.
Did they have a love affair?
Make Angela Lansbury, Fletch's mom.
Yeah,
and then the new Fletcher woman could be the granddaughter or something.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Let's do it. I like when they throw niece in there. Then you don't know really where.
And it's also a commercial for Ancestry.com. Where she figures out her ancestry is Fletch and then Fletcher.
Yeah.
And then Jessica Fletch. Oh, it all makes sense now.
There you go.
There you go.
I like it.
And she's a Lakers fan.
Is Tom Bosley still alive?
No, I don't think he is. No.
Murder He Read?
Yes, that was my spin-off of Murder, She Wrote called Murder He Read with Tom Bosley.
Nice.
Yes.
Interesting.
Where he reads a mystery that was written by Jessica Fletcher and goes,
I
read this.
Is there any way to get Raymond Burr and Peter Falk involved in this?
No, because they're both dead.
With a Ouija board.
Well, just throw a headstone out there and say he visits the headstone. Real quick scene.
Did you know they made they did a spinoff of Columbo called Mrs. Columbo?
Yeah,
with Kate.
They did.
Kate Mulgrew.
That's the lady from Star Trek.
Yeah, Kate Mulgrew. Yeah. Go ahead.
I remember as a kid watching the new Star Trek Voyager show. So I was big into that, and my mom going, "Hey, that's Mrs. Columbo." And it kind of
That's amazing.
I think my dad was like, "Is that Mrs. Columbo?" I was like,
right.
Yeah.
I could never get that out of my head. It's like, damn it, Mom.
She had to hurry up and fly home.
She's not in Orange is the New Black.
Yeah, she was on
Orange is the New Black. I don't think that Tom's mom watched Orange is the New Black.
Oh, no, that'd give her a heart attack.
It's like, that's Mrs. Columbo. What is she doing?
Yeah, no. My parents just watch reruns of Monk and NCIS. And that's the heaviest they go. Yeah.
All right, last question here.
Okay.
And we'll get to you last here, to give you a moment.
To because I really.
Wow! All right.
So, Bradley, you're up first.
Sure. So we have two. You just want two words to describe the movie. So I'm going to sum up my experience in 2 words by saying a bunch of words before that. Just a bunch of words because I'm trying to think of 2 words.
Or you could say your 2 words and then explain yourself.
I guess funny mystery. That's all I got. That's all I got, folks.
I think you were
I can't really think of anything
exactly.
I'm being literal because honestly,
Chevy actor.
Chevy actor. How about that? How about funny? How about ha ha? No. I don't know. Really.
I forgot the question.
Noir. Funny noir, because I don't think you get a lot of where noir is necessarily funny. It's always taken too serious, even though there are a lot of noirs that we know that we've watched.
Yeah.
They're actually funny, but this is just flat out funny, but also has that noir aspect to it. So I'm going to say funny noir.
Or they can have moments of humor, but
right.
it's not the main.
But
focus,
it's not necessarily the main. Like that's not the catalyst or the way that this movie is.
Yeah, this one blends it very well.
Yeah,
yeah, I agree. Tom, are you ready to describe your experience in 2 words?
I guess so. 2 words?
Yeah.
Okay. Hilarious concept.
Excellent.
There you go.
I don't know.
No,
I was going to try to
that's
throw the
good.
word organic
Better than
in
me.
there, but I just couldn't figure it out.
What was the...
Nothing.
No, I will rewind and listen to it, damn it. What did you say?
No one rewinds anything anymore, Jeremy.
Oh, I can rewind this.
We're actually going to pause right here to rewind what he said.
You don't record your podcast on a reel-to-reel?
No.
No,
I was going to try to
that's
throw
good.
the word organic
Better than
in
me.
there, but I just couldn't figure it out.
What was the... Okay. So I think my 2 words will be Fletch Lives.
Oh, shut up.
No,
Boom.
that's a cop-out.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Sorry, I'm
I
rewinding.
am starting to hate this game.
I'm rewinding right now.
No, quit rewinding your boombox.
I do have a boombox.
No, like I think this movie is an excellent sequel. Like, and the Fletch movie is the first movie is fantastic, and I think this movie, to me, even though it's like a sequel, even though I'm like, I mean, it doesn't. I think if you're comparing the two, Fletch is
on par.
It's a superior product.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is. But I think this one also is a very strong component to it. It carries the story very well. It's not like to the point where I'm like, oh god, now Fletch Lives comes next.
Yeah, right.
Like, I would be excited to
watch a double feature
back to back.
It's no Caddyshack 2.
But what is?
Yeah.
Doing what we call the Tom Skull, which is watching both Fletch movies back to back over and over and over.
But he's watching them the wrong way because he's watching Fletch later on.
There's no wrong way to watch
that's
Fletch
true.
movies.
There is no freaking right.
But no, like I think these are both extremely strong.
Tom needs to watch all 20 seasons of Murder, She Wrote before he can understand.
You think I haven't? I used to watch Murder, She Wrote. This is no joke. I used to watch Murder, She Wrote and Matlock with my mom for years because those shows were on way too long. And it was the only thing to do Sunday evenings in the winter. So, yeah, I know all about Jessica Fletcher and Matlock in his weird blue suits.
I used to watch Barnaby Jones and Quincy with my sister.
Oh, Quincy, yeah, that's a good one too.
Magnum PI was my jam.
Oh, yeah, I used to watch that with my dad. He still watches that. I don't know, like on the We Network or Me Network. I don't know what they have.
Jeremy was watching it for different reasons.
What?
Jeremy, you like his mustache?
I love his mustache. No,
really?
my mom. I realized later the reason my mom watched Magnum PI was because my mom totally had a crush on Tom Selleck.
Because Tom Selleck was gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, that might have been what did it, Mom. Tom
Selleck is the only person, and I'm saying this, the only person in this world that looks better with a regular mustache.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, now hold on.
Because mustaches are stupid. Sorry.
Now wait a minute. What about oh God, from Roadhouse?
If you say Hitler, I'm hanging the phone up.
No, why would I say Hitler?
Oh, when Hitler shaved, it just wasn't the same.
What was the question? What about who?
What's his name? Oh
I have
my
no
God,
idea. Sam Elliott.
Sam Elliott.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, when Sam Elliott.
All right. Yeah, I'll give you that one. But it has to be gray.
Well, yeah.
Like Sam Elliott, when he actually had color to his hair, no. But it has to be like gray, grizzled, old Sam Elliott.
Yeah, from like a Western and not like anything.
Yeah, or
not
his
Mask.
Big Lebowski
Sam Elliott and Tom Selleck.
Not from like Did he have a mustache and mask? I digress.
let's not talk about Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott anymore.
You getting too wound up?
You're too wound up on that mustache.
Prancer was a good movie.
Prancer was a good movie. You know there's a Prancer too?
No, there's not.
Yes, there is. We're going to do it sometime.
Did you guys cover it?
I don't think we found out until...
Yeah. Didn't we cover it? We did it. Yeah, I thought we did.
You've done 140 some of these episodes, and you know there's a Prancer 2, and that didn't make it into the catalog? Well, come on, guys.
No, I swear we did Prancer 2 this year.
I'm trying to...
We did Prancer 2. Didn't we? No, we just watched Prancer.
Yeah, we watched it, and then
we didn't
later
do Prancer
we were like,
2,
holy
but we will.
shit, there's a sequel.
Yeah.
Please tell me Sam Elliott didn't reprise his role.
No, but he's great in Prancer.
He is great.
No, he is. He's a great dad. And yeah. Anyway,
no,
what are we talking about here?
I don't know.
No, he's not.
So Fletch Lives.
Well, so you've been induced. All right. So Lights, Camera, Fletch. What is it about now, Tom?
Lights, Camera, Fletch. It's about my 8-year-old boy reviewing movies.
Yes, and where can people find that?
And I'm not going to just say this because he's my son, but he's actually really good at it.
No, he is.
And yeah, he's really into it, and I'm encouraging that in him because it's when a kid gets excited about something, you should always encourage it. So it's been a lot of fun.
Good.
Well, if we promise to keep down the Effenheimers, would you and Fletch come back and review a movie with us sometime?
Oh, absolutely. He'd love it.
Nice.
I think he thinks he's famous now, so I have to take him down a peg or two. But yeah.
Well, if he wanted to be taken down a peg or two, this show is the one to be on.
You gotta be humble. You gotta be humble. You gotta, No, we would love to. He would love it. I know he would. So
perfect.
All right.
Yeah.
And where
I'll talk to his agent. I'll have his people call your people. We'll set something up. We'll do lunch.
Excellent. Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right.
Where can people find us, Jeremy?
So people can find us at thedeucepodcast.podbean.com, Google Play, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, most of those kind of podcatchers. You can also find us on our Facebook or on Twitter at the Deuce Podcast or at Deuce Podcast. Or you can also find us at the NoPhonyNetwork.com. It's the No Phony Podcast Network's homepage. And we're a proud member of that network. And we have all sorts of different shows that you can listen to. We have sketch comedy, both, international and domestic. We have sports podcasts. We have, just podcasts all over on the road, all over the U.S. We have reading podcasts. We have podcasts from overseas. Just a little of everything. We also have new audio dramas as well. So check out Coyote's Bluff. That's one that the No Phony team recently put together. It's excellent, as well as, just a little everything here. So, of course, Eating Cereal with Bitches.
Eating Cereal with Bitches, yes.
Where it's an interview show where two people sit down and eat some cereal.
And they talk.
Yeah.
So check all those out. Thank you, Tom, for being with us for Fletch Lives. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Can I say one? Can I be serious for a minute?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I just want, and I'm sure your listeners already know this, but it's truly an honor to be friends with you guys. We've met through this podcasting world. We've never met in person, and I've known you guys for 4 or 5 years now. And you guys are two of the coolest people I've ever met, and I just want you guys to know life is too short to be around people that don't make you happy, and you two make me happy. So,
well, you make us happy too, bud. We really appreciate that. We always are looking for we need to make sure we have more people on, and this past year, just with illness and everything else that's gone on. It was a little rough. We had a lot of time off in the middle and stuff, and so we're trying to get back in the swing. We realized the other day that we just had not had people on for a little while, and part of that was because our schedule was kind of erratic, and sometimes in recovery you just don't feel like suddenly getting up and podcasting, and so we were kind of taking it easy. But we're like, no, we need to get back on here and talk to the friends that we like talking to, and getting more of these podcasts.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
And remember, folks, the sequel is king.
Watch the fitness trying to keep them clean. He will be